got to get comfortable because I think last time we were going for about an hour and a half when we originally planned for 20 or 30 minutes. Yeah. So, but at least we're sitting in some nice TMI seats.
This is comfortable.
Right now.
The other one was a little. I was like really high off the floor. My feet were kind of dangling.
That's what we decided to set up a little more lounge here. You know, we're out at the Grand National Truck Show. We're here with Juan Treviño from Relaxed Atmosphere, and also representing and talking about the Mini Truck Hall of Fame, which I think we were trying to figure this out, but over 10 years. It's started by Bob Hayes as well as numerous other original kind of.
There's been some big names in the committee. I think not to say it lost some steam or not. It's just as with anything, people get busy, but I know that
you got to keep cycling kind of through and get the next generation in.
Yeah, that's healthy to do that.
Yeah, it takes a little fresh blood, and like right now, there's a lot of fresh blood in there. There's some folks like Radar out from Texas, puts on LST and all that.
Right.
That's kind of spearheading it. He's our go-to guy that we bug with everything. Mm-hmm. You got Jason out of Florida that does like our lifestyle podcasts and stuff. He really brings that younger energy and that enthusiasm,
which is great. That's well needed, right? Yes.
Yeah. There's a couple other handful of folks that are from like the Midwest and East Coast. And it's really good, So I was asked if I would be part of the committee some time ago because I think I'm probably bringing that older element into it. And plus,
older or more refined?
Just knowledgeable.
Remember, we look very similar, Juan. So
the grays.
We're all getting the gray hairs going.
But it's been fun. It's been as with anything, it's something else to add to the list of cool stuff to do. Yeah. That just takes time, but like I said, Radar does a good job of like, hey, I posted something on the group page, go in there and answer because it's been 2 days and you haven't seen it.
Right.
Okay. So he's good at kind of keeping it moving and keeping everyone involved.
And Bob Hayes is still there in a that like I said, the one that started it, the one that came up with the idea, and we want to keep it going. Like I said, to keep it going, and so. The last couple of years have been really good that since I've been in it, and I'm able to communicate with some of these folks that are also maybe that are also go back to the 70s mini truck scene.
Yes.
So because I started to see the names that they already had on there, and even I was kind of like, who's? And then so I have a good friend named Brian Amatsu. You guys met him. He's just debuted that Merc, that real cool. The Purple Rain Merc, remember?
Yeah.
So he's old school mini truck guy.
Right.
He came from the late 70s mini truck scene. And so I'll be like, hey, who's this? And then he's like, oh, yeah, so this guy, blah, blah, blah. By the way, he still has his 620 that he showed at the RG Canning shows put away in his garage. Wait, what?
Yeah, wait, what? Yeah.
And it's people like that. There's a gentleman named Capi Sims, and I don't know if you guys know who he is, but he used to be a judge at the truck show, at the truck jamborees.
Yep.
And I got to know him because I remember one time coming up to him going like, listen, I know my truck has,
this, and this, and how come I got that award? Yeah.
Right, and he'll be like, listen, I'm going to show you.
Yeah, exactly. No, he was very fair.
And, he held my hand, and I was like,
yeah.
Oh, okay. And to see him as somebody that in the future can be a recipient, so I'll have to show some of these younger guys, especially the guys that aren't from the West Coast, that, no, this guy paid his dues, type of thing. So, and there's several other people in the categories of like editors and photographers. There's some older cats in there that I know that Bob Hayes and some of these other guys like Kevin Doyle that works here at the truck show here, Grand National Truck Show.
Yeah.
Probably threw their names in the mix, right? So I'm like, I had to even go back and do a little history and ask him, so tell me again with this guy. Oh, okay.
Right.
I'm sure that's kind of the battle or the balance that you're trying to find of who to induct or who to, focus on is you want to kind of span the 40, 50 years of mini trucks, but keep who's relevant, but who also kind of set the stage for the people that came later and honor that person.
Yeah.
So it's kind of balancing it out, but it's then just showing like, okay, this is why this person deserves this award.
And the thing is that they were hoping I think in the grand scheme of things is that they also wanted these people to still be involved in the automotive world in one way or another.
Yeah, and I think that's a good thing too.
I mean, I know I started with a mini truck. I still have my mini truck at home, but I'm also expanded to where I've got my older truck, I've got an older car. I also have we have our 4Runner, and I used to like to go off-roading with my Samurai. So we all venture off into other things.
Yeah.
We're not,
Well, that's
but it's
that's
still
this
in the same. You've found your focus and your thing. It's still in the mini truck and truck world.
Well,
Yeah.
Well, you guys also think about it. Mini trucking is a proving ground. If you really look at who's, I guess, maybe matured into some of the leaders of this industry, they started at mini trucks.
Yeah.
And I know that's basically a timeline.
Generational.
Yeah, it's a generational thing, timeline. Guys that are our age right now, mini trucks were popular when we were much younger.
Yeah.
So what I think is really fun about this is that it is teaching the new kids, hey, this happened. This was a great time. Like you guys are really into 80s stuff or 90s stuff. Well, this is what was popular to build during that time.
Agreed.
Now, what I have a hard time is us getting that information to those kids.
Yes.
And that's just tough because, that
it's going to be very tough.
Because all you guys are doing this, you guys aren't getting paid for this. This is all volunteering your time, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
We're volunteering our time. We are, like I said, we're grown-ups that we're either some of those guys in there, they're business owners,
right.
they've got and they also have these extracurricular activities, being in a club like I'm in Relaxed Atmosphere, Radar's in Negative Camber, Jason's in Severed Tides, there's a member from Pebble Pushers, and it goes on from, and so we all have our hands in certain things, running a club, getting involved with these bigger shows, right?
Exactly.
Interacting with you guys, you reached out to me and said, hey, we want to talk about the Mini Truck Hall of Fame. I'm like, okay, now I got to sit down and
what are we going to talk about?
You got to make sure that you're saying the right words.
I don't want to be just sitting here going,
okay, good time, see you guys.
We're asking you about it.
Yeah, and so it takes some dedication. Going through like these names that they want to induct, right? So now you've got to almost pitch it amongst the group. Like, listen, I know this person.
You got to, if you nominate him, you got to back it up. And,
You guys might not know this. Same with, there was a couple people in there that the truck that, for example, this year, it's this Nissan hardbody out of Florida.
Right.
Beautiful truck. I remember it in the magazines.
Yeah.
Me owning a hardbody, I picked up some stuff from it. But I never met the owner. He was from Florida. I'm in Southern California.
Right.
It wasn't like these days where people all have tow rigs now because we all have a little extra income. We could meet at LST in Texas. That didn't exist for us back then.
Yeah, it was a lot more segmented out throughout the country.
I had to learn on him. Okay, tell me more about him.
Yeah.
And he still has the truck. Oh, he seems like a cool guy. He's got my vote.
Right.
Because now you do have to pitch him because you got Brian Good's another one, Forbidden Fantasy, right? Mm-hmm. So he's a West Coast guy. So I know that sometimes we'll sit there and like kind of almost look, we bounce it off each other. Hey, Brian, did you know? He goes, nah, man.
Yeah.
I remember, Juan, I'm younger than you still. And so we have to do that. And again, we're doing it on our own time, our own dime.
Right.
We are also going out there now and marketing it so that we can get a sponsor for the rings.
Right.
I have one.
Yeah.
So,
and you got that from the for our club for Relax.
No, this is the one that I earned. I got the Courtney Hollowell Achievement Award.
That's right.
Right.
And I'm pretty honored with this. And maybe we'll talk about it.
Well,
more.
So let's talk about some of the these memorial awards. What basically makes up kind of the. I guess lineup.
Yeah, let's go over the rundown of
sure.
the Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
sure. And again, what I was just to close off what I was about to tell you guys is that we do have to market to get these sponsored.
Yeah, right.
So we'll reach out to folks to say, are you willing to sponsor
this?
ring?
Right,
so,
right. Which I think that's fair. I've heard of a few guys buying their own rings. I'm kind of like, well, hey, man, is this an honor or is this like a burden? Like, hey, we like you, but you got to spend a grand on a ring.
Yeah, in the early years, it was probably not something that a lot of people were going to line up to do.
Right.
But, and so now going at these classes, and there's a couple of the classes within there that are like Courtney Hollowell. They're not referring to it as a memorial award.
Okay.
If I'm correct.
I think, and I'll pull.
Yeah, I don't know.
List
out.
It goes back and forth.
The Courtney Howell Achievement Award, but there are some memorial
in remembrance of Courtney Howell,
Sure.
right? Tito.
Yes.
So so I'll talk to it from experience. I know that Maggie, Mama, as we all kindly and so deserve refer to her as, you know, she kind of she likes to get involved and find out who was the person that was picked.
Right.
And and likes to see that an award in her son's honor is going to somebody, a good recipient. Right.
There you go.
So. Yeah, it's great. You know,
Right.
For me, it was awesome. She actually even got to meet me, and she already knew me, right? She got to meet me, unfortunately, maybe at one point or another before Courtney passed, but definitely after Courtney passed, because I mustered up the courage to speak at a service. Right.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
And so I left something in her that she remembered me by, and when she found out I was had gotten chosen, she asked to be my inductee.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I was like, wow, okay, you know, there's nothing I can, and she wrote something and they had to tell her, listen, you only got a couple minutes.
Yeah. Let's keep
Yeah,
it.
you can't go on.
Keep it under 3 minutes.
Yeah. And it goes from there. I believe there's the Steve Stillwell and
Achievement Award.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that was originally the journalist or media award, and then after Steve Stillwell passed away a few years ago, they renamed it to that. Because for those that don't know, Steve Stillwell was basically the founder of Truckin' Magazine.
Correct.
More or less the founder of Mini Truckin' Magazine. Started Street Trucks Magazine.
Classic Trucks Magazine.
Classic Trucks Magazine.
I
So
mean, the list
basically,
kind of goes on with Steve
any
Stillwell.
truck
Right.
media and magazine kind of stemmed from him. So it's perfect fit for honoring some kind of a journalist or media for
definitely
for the mini trucks.
So there's journalists.
And was a hell of a guy too. Steve was a great,
great guy.
nicest guy in the world.
Yeah.
Really, really pleasure to always talk to.
And this year for that award, Joe Greaves, who's been a long time freelancer,
yes.
For a number of magazines out of Florida, he's getting inducted this year.
Right. Which I'm happy to hear that, because that goes back to like you're saying, like when we were younger, getting information from Florida came out of freelancers.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, even the magazines back then, they had budgets, but they didn't have like big budgets to say, we're going to go check out there. So they had to kind of rely on some of these guys to fill in those gaps. And Joe was always a constant. And he kind of had the right style. You know, he didn't have too much of the older guy style, in my opinion.
He captured the Florida
He did.
vibe.
He did.
Because we can acknowledge, I think, in the mini truck world, there's some styles that are different from
a Florida man.
So, you know,
from coast to coast and different areas that have kind of
a really funny little
established their own
story
style.
with this. And I'm sure it was probably Joe Greaves. I might be wrong.
Right.
But we have a good friend in common out here, Jeff Hess, that built the Oldsmobile. Mike
Oldsmobile,
Dillon built the Oldsmobile. We traveled all over the country with.
Right.
So there was a time in his life where he lived in Florida.
Okay.
And Jeff's owned a lot of cool cars over his lifetime. And he built a first generation S10 while he was in Florida. Custom paint job, wheels.
Did he fit in it?
He used it. Well, probably where the extra cab. He's probably the seat
I
all
know.
the way.
Yeah, so he's a tall guy.
Right?
Jeff's tall.
Yeah, and he got photographed. So he's in. It's still Trucking Magazine.
Okay.
So I have I found it.
Did you?
You know, but he tells the story of where. I think they were also doing a like lifestyle portion to it, where they were photographing some people with clothing and what the younger crowds were wearing.
Right.
And so Jeff,
the apparel guide,
and his in his you know quirkiness and just likes to joke around, goes, you know, I could pose with the truck.
Yeah.
And they had to very mildly tell him, well, listen, it's the demographic. You're just
you don't fit
a little older than that.
Yeah.
So he loves telling the story. You know, he tells me, you know, that I had my stint with the truck scene. You know, and I go, you were way old for it.
Right. Yeah. It's true, you know, but that's good. You know, it just goes to show 8 to 80. Mini trucks make people happy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Good.
So next,
Who else we got?
let's start at the top of the list that you sent me. So the Mini Truck Memorial Award. Now, is that a new award of
That's
or
new
have
to
they
the-
done?
new to this year?
one. Yes.
Okay. So this year is our good friend, our fellow club member, fellow peaches to your buttercup.
This is true.
Tom McWeeny.
Yeah.
So and the good thing, I mean, the thing with that, he wanted to be.
I was going to say
desperately.
This is a well-deserved pick.
Yeah, Tom always said
Yes.
that one year he's like, I want to be in the Mini Truck Hall of Fame.
You guys-
1 year I'll get there. 1 year I'll be in.
Yeah.
He really wanted.
And he
was
deserved it.
really.
He used to practice the acceptance speech with me.
Do you really?
And I would-
Figuring that you would probably be the one
Right.
to induct him or
And
something.
I would sit there and make fun of him because I said, you can't make a speech unless you get picked.
But you got to be ready.
And that's what he said.
Yeah, he's
He goes,
I'm
well, I
getting
gotta be
ready for
ready.
it.
And he goes, the only reason why I want to do this is I want to be able to sign my name and put HOF behind it. And I go, well, I'm a legend in my own mind. Why can't you just start doing it right now?
You can call yourself a doctor.
Right,
and,
right,
I mean,
yeah,
it doesn't-
exactly. You gotta prove it, right?
Yeah, I mean, in the long run, it's interesting. There's all these pages on Instagram that either honor a certain style of truck.
Right.
There's a newer page called Sport Truck Era, and they're really it's doing very well. And he started posting some of the stuff from Tom's other builds.
Right.
And I forgot about I remember the creamish colored with the green flames.
Yeah. That was on the cover of Street Trucks.
I didn't know until you actually commented on that it was the same truck that was that they
White with
shared,
brown
which was with the
or
orange
copper flames.
Well, okay.
give or take.
And so that truck we called that truck the Recycler. And the reason why was because, like we said, he had it the first cover with the green flames and then the second cover with the copper flames. But I guess the statute of limitations are up on this one because Tom couldn't afford the truck payment, and that truck had to disappear. And so
Allegedly.
it ended in Mexico. Statute of limitations
Allegedly.
are over.
Yeah.
So
Probably a cousin of mine
that
has it
truck,
in
by the way,
Ensenada.
ended
Allegedly.
up that truck allegedly
Yeah.
ended up in the dumpster in smaller quartered pieces. So we won't be finding that truck nor restoring that truck.
So it doesn't have.
It's not having a comeback.
At one point, it wasn't the red truck, right? That
No,
he's just
that
like
was the
satined it
WT
or something.
No, that was the WT. That's a totally different story.
Yeah.
WT is a totally different deal, and that was a very close truck to Tom,
but-
which
Which
actually
now
Raul owns it.
Yeah,
Rodriguez
Raul at Rifle
owns
Supply and
Rifle
C10
Supply.
Era.
Yeah.
Coil overed it, LS swapped
Yeah,
that thing.
no, now
and-
it went from being that V6 little baby that we
Yeah.
used to do tech on, and that was the truck that when we were working at Street Trucks, it was like, we need something small to put in this thing. What can we do? What can we order for an 88 to 98 Chevy truck? Because Tom would always be like, I don't care, do it. So
Yeah.
that truck was a V6 truck with like bare brakes on it.
I was gonna say it had.
No, but
some
that's
sort
what was
of,
kind of actually cool for
Yeah.
that
They were
is
like some
because
sort of prototype brakes or something like that.
Yeah.
They had come up
it was one of their
with.
Yeah.
first newer kits
Yeah.
for the full rear, front, and rear.
And that
Yeah.
was the thing because he always worked in the industry, right?
Right.
His father-in-law in the fiberglass
with the
industry.
fiberglass, right?
So
yeah.
they were
And
trying out new.
Terry, his father, ran the Azalea Park Lowrider show for a
Right,
number
his
of
dad,
years.
so-
Dad, yeah.
I mean, you guys, Tom was a motorsports or custom car.
Custom with a K.
Custom with a K. That's right.
He loved
I mean,
it all.
he loved it all. And also, too, his tagline, for all things custom.
Yeah.
And, I mean, like you mentioned, his dad was not only just a car show promoter, but he was also a cop in Southgate. So for him his beat was Tweedy Boulevard. So he knew Barris, he knew Watson, he knew all of this. And he would take Tom around with his brother in the car, like on Saturdays. They'd like, hey, let's go see what Watson's up to. So,
Yeah.
of course, Tom getting into this was kind of like a no-brainer.
Yeah. Well, and I think that actually has inspired a lot of
Yeah.
the trucks that he built because you look
They did.
you look at that Triple X sled, the
Right.
green unibody
Scallops
S10.
and
It was
pinstriping.
That was
you know,
100% Larry
candy
Watson.
green
Yeah.
with
The wheels.
Watson stripes
Scallops.
and like kind of or scallops, yeah, and then it had like the salt flat
Yeah.
Yep.
wheels and
Colorado
stuff.
Custom
on
Salt
there.
Flats. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
No,
there's like the orange S10 that you guys built a few years later that had a early '60s grill and headlights and front end, and then custom flake paint job and
Yeah.
kind of old school
Well,
interior.
you guys
so
did that hard body, the blue and white hard
that was
body.
his,
That was mine.
his truck. Yeah,
And there was all those little custom
yeah, louvers, the big
features
old
in it,
shifter.
right? Yeah, the shifter. It had all
Yeah.
that stuff.
Right.
I idolized that stuff. I loved it. When I saw it in him doing it, I
Yeah.
was like, I liked it.
Yeah.
My 65, it's got those touches of
Right.
like the custom stuff.
A little bit of custom hot rod and
Yeah,
lowrider,
my
a little bit
OBS Suburban.
kind of
I was
popped in.
like, Tom, you got to make some time because I want you to pinstripe it. And
Yeah.
I want you to do some graphics and leafing, and I, it was a great collaboration we had there.
You guys, I mean, it's kind of amazing to look. I know a lot of people maybe didn't know who he was. I know that, like, even this year at the show, a lot of the guys from back east might not know who he was.
Yeah.
But over the last 20 years or 25 years, Tom and I built 20 trucks that went to see.
Yeah. Well,
and I mean, it's not like we didn't know any better. It's just that
it's in your blood. Man.
that
That's
was what
you
we
guys
did. Like, we would go and hang out and work on cars. And I know that that's not unusual to everybody that we're talking to right now. I mean, there's guys that group together, and that's what you share.
And even then, just being a pinstriper and custom painter and working at Coast Airbrush, Tom's had his hand
right,
literally on hundreds of trucks and other vehicles and stuff like that. So,
you know, and while I know that the pinstriping world or that the lowbrow art world,
yeah.
they all knew him, right? Because not necessarily a lot of those people are car people.
Right.
They're artists.
Exactly.
And
Yeah,
him
there's a little
working
bit
at
of a
Coast Airbrush,
crossover.
that wasn't a shop that provided products for cars.
Right.
It was for all artists. So, like, you know, we do the award here that we you know use to remember him by.
Right.
We do the Tom McQueen Memorial Award in pinstriping.
Sure.
And those guys are like, they're lined up. Like, next year, let me know. You know, Craig Schaffer's Panel Jammers makes the panel, and but he's got people like, I love Tom. I would go to Coast. If you need help with anything for him, you let me know.
Yeah.
And that's not car
but that was
people.
Tom.
Yeah, and that was Tom.
You know, I would always, he would drive me crazy when he would stop and talk to people, because I'm like, you need to stop talking to everybody. We have shit to do. And I was always kind of like that, like, driving him, and he was like, dude, it's cool, everything's going to be fine, don't even worry about it, right? And had that big personality that people would be drawn to him. Now, the hilarious thing too is that, you know, like we mentioned, he was in automotive retail for his entire life. I mean, he worked for Boyd, he worked for Traders, he worked for MIC, Line-X. I mean, his whole career spans some type of interaction with car people.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is that on the sideline, he'd be like, I can't stand this anymore, these people drive me crazy. But then you'd put him in front of somebody, and he would make sure that he had every single minute to talk to somebody.
Yeah.
And case in point, like the SEMA show for the last, 7 or 8 years of his life, Red Cap would hire him to sit in their booth and just pinstripe whatever people would walk up to.
Yeah.
And he loved it. And because he'd have the same people come up and like, hey, this is my cell phone case.
Yeah, you did this 3 years ago.
Right.
Now I got a new one. So
I heard that first year after he passed away in September. It's been 2 years,
2 years.
now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But that SEMA's in November, for those that don't know.
Right.
But that November, people were coming to the booth.
Yeah.
When
that they would
they
bring,
had
like
a little
you said,
sign.
a phone case
and
or
Red
something.
Cap set up
And
his
they
stand and
Yes.
set up a little thing for him, which was really really nice. But
so
then
there was
a lot of people.
There was a lot of heartbroken
know
people
that-
that
were.
maybe didn't know him like we know him.
Yeah, he knew. They knew
Or
him from
even
SEMA
at
every year.
But they just, I'm gonna be at SEMA. I want this guy. There's a spin striper there, and I'll make sure and get my shirt and make sure I get my. And he wasn't there.
Wasn't there.
And
Right.
that was first. That just goes to show you that because SEMA's a worldwide
Exactly.
gathering, right?
Yeah.
And so there was probably somebody that showed up from Brazil or South America or something that was had
absolutely.
in mind. I'm going to go take it to that pinstripe. It's always at the Red Cap booth.
You guys, we had the joke. If the Germans are here, that means it's good.
The German tourists.
The German
that's
tourists.
A sign
If
that
German
you're in a good
tourists are
place.
anywhere around, that means you're in the right place. And Tom and I would always go.
It's the funny thing is it has held true. I've noticed a couple things, or I've heard some German tourists, and I'm like, yeah, we're in a tourist area, and
All right.
it's a good place.
Right.
So.
But we would have fun. Okay, this is maybe this is rude. I don't know, but we would have a little game that we would play at the SEMA show, and
It starts off with it could be a little rude.
right, could be a little rude.
Yeah.
But it spilled over into other things, and so after 9/11, of course, those events went down. If you were of Middle Eastern descent, people kind of looked at you strange.
Yeah.
Okay. So at the SEMA show, we noticed, and these people are not Middle Eastern, so again, too, this is extremely rude. But the men that walk around with the headdresses on, of course, at the SEMA show, they're very easy to find because, you look over the crowd and you can see, all of a sudden you see a couple that have a headdress on. You think to yourself, okay. So
you do also know that all of those guys are not Muslim.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm saying
So
this is
they're
terrible.
completely different
It's terrible.
than
It's
what-
terrible. But
Yeah.
what I'm saying is the personality of Tom to say, like, he would say, like,
he was a jokester.
He was
He
a
would always
jokester.
joking around.
He would say, "I
He'd
found
always
him."
have a good time.
and all of us would be like, found who? And we would turn around, oh, I'm like, well, that's not right. Okay.
Okay,
So,
without getting too detailed, I know what
right,
you're talking
right.
about.
So the funny thing though is we
remember
would
the
be
time period.
anywhere. Like I would be here right now and he would walk by me and say, I found him, and walk away. And both of us would start to giggle and smile. Right. So it's just those little things that Tom's personality would always come out. that he would constantly keep you laughing and constantly keep you in a good mood. And honestly, that's what I miss about him the most is how much of just the life around him where he would be having the shittiest day in the world. And as long as you got him a Mountain Dew and a puff of weed, then everything would be fine. And let's go do stuff. And we'd always call each other productive. You been productive, Bobby? That was always kind of our joke back and forth, meaning like, did you get your shit done?
Yeah.
So
no, and then in closing, I guess, so we can go on to the next person because we could talk about Tom.
Well, I'll just say
Tom's an exception.
Tom's a whole episode.
But being that this is a mini trucking award,
right?
And let's connect it to Mini Truck Memorial Award is what he's being inducted.
Yeah,
for.
he's inducted.
But that's the thing. So he's had
multiple mini trucks, guys.
2,
and that's what I'm
4,
getting at.
5, like 6 or 7 mini truck builds.
Some of those trucks had reincarnations.
Covered trucks.
Yeah.
And some of these trucks were sold off.
Right.
And some of them, unfortunately,
no
had
longer
a horrible
exist.
demise, like the
recycled.
Triple X
Triple X sled now is all.
Is that
cut
gone?
up?
Oh, that's
and gone.
right. That's right.
Gone.
Yeah. So, but I think true and in his heart, he was still a mini truck guy.
Yeah. Oh, always.
And so much so that we got to go pick a truck here,
right,
that would have fit his lifestyle. And Craig Schaffer's already came to me and said, "Hey, dude, there's a truck over there,
right?
And it's an S10 Sonoma.
Yeah,
it's pinstripe like his, blah blah, blah, or like what he would have done.
Right.
And right off the bat, I'm like, well, that was quick.
It's also green too, so
right, it's green. So, and if we don't pick this guy at the end, just know you were
in
definitely
consideration.
Considered,
yeah,
because your truck touched us. Like right away, we're like, well, that would have been him.
Yeah.
If he would have built something cool and simple to kind of get around.
Well, also too, like if he was a judge at numerous truck shows, truck jams.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Well, he
several
was growing up
shows.
he grew up working for his dad.
Working for the dad.
He judged
so
my mini truck when I would enter there.
What would he pick for his award?
Right.
Like what would he want to give to somebody? And kind of think in that vein.
We had some ideas of people even coming before here, and I sent a message, "Hey, are you by any chance coming to the show?"
Right.
And it was like I got a couple of no. Unfortunately, my car. I like to show outdoors. I'm not an indoor guy.
Yeah. Right.
And I'm like, okay, but it's okay, So,
Right.
but again, even if he currently didn't have a mini truck, he was a mini trucker.
Absolutely.
Because no matter who you talk to, and this is for all across the board. Like you said at the beginning, we all maybe started there.
Yeah.
And I told you a story earlier where there's somebody here that owns a wheel company and Evo that's over there,
yes.
I believe, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we messaged each other back and forth, and he was like, I was a mini truck in the early 90s. I know of relaxed atmosphere.
Yeah.
Here's my truck. And I'm like, oh my God.
Right.
And it's like, and I get so happy because, I have my mini truck still.
Yeah.
And sometimes I sit there and go like, do I really want to dump a bunch of money into this? And then I get that situation and I say yes.
Yeah. Well, with Tom, you're exactly right. He always wanted another mini truck.
Yeah. And I think that if he wouldn't have passed away, I think he still was his name was already in the mix.
Good.
And so at one point or another, it could have been.
Because there's
it could have
custom
been the
painter
Courtney Hallowell
award.
Memorial or Achievement Award.
Right.
It could have been the Painter Award.
Yeah.
It could have been
maybe a
something
truck
else.
award, one of the builds.
One of his
what he
builds.
does.
One of his
builds.
Triple
Right.
X sled is still considered something that was at the time when the mini trucks started to kind of dwindle down, and the sport truck era had really kicked up, and then also because even the sport truck era was kind of already like at least your basic static drop trucks,
Right.
But now it's the bags, the big billets, and everything else. He brought out Triple X sled.
Yeah. I thought of that actually driving in today, I thought of something about what was Tom's style that would have stuck out in the early days. And Tom embraced the pimp and hose party a lot.
The MIC.
Yeah.
Pimp and hose back.
Rob had a few of those.
Yeah. He enjoyed that. So and he was, but always a trailblazer too. Even going back to his yellow Toyota, I worked at Stitchcraft at the time.
I forgot about the yellow Toyota.
Yeah,
I was thinking all the S10s.
Right. And his yellow Toyota, at the time, tweed was the big material.
He had it all over.
And everybody had it all over. But Tom asked us if we could do logos in it, not just embroidery.
Notre Dame stuff.
So we started doing 3D, clovers and stuff and his door panels. And, that was I think his first cover because that was the mini trucking cover with Michelle Lee on it, and which he was super proud of always. But the hilarious thing too is that even like when he started building like Triple X sled, he went over and beyond that whole, pimp and hose. Like
the truck had airbrushed porn stars.
I was going to say
on it.
the truck was dedicated to Jenna Jameson.
Yeah,
That's why it was called Triple X sled.
Right,
Exactly.
So Tom and I were working at Line X back then when that truck was built, and it was in primer after the guys over at Go Easy, they had put the thing together, and Art obviously did all their work, but it was just black primered. And we were joking around about kind of all these old days and telling people that were at Line X, kind of like where Tom grew up, where I grew up. And Larry Watson came up, and Tom and I both looked at each other at the same time, went, scallops, and literally walked over to the roll of tape and started laying out scallops on that truck.
Yeah.
And I remember like saying, and this was like, our cell phones didn't take pictures, right? Our cell phones still, actually back then it was still Nextels when we were, chirping each other, right? So we couldn't take a picture of it. But we left the tape on it and took it out to Eric Jackson, and that's how he laid it out. It was just one of those like spur of the moments, like
random inspiration, and let's roll with it.
Lay it out,
But
right?
that was the thing, and that was also timing wise too. That was kind of when the custom
rockabilly,
pinstriping, all that was coming back into style and into fashion. So it fit into that and kind of crossed.
That if he wouldn't have put those salt flat wheel, the billets, and he would have just put Supremes on it.
Yeah.
It would have still been at the same magnitude, and then probably,
Well, that's a funny story too as well, because the original idea was to put Astros on it, because if you look at the next truck that he built, we put Astros on it.
Right.
The reason why it had salt flats on it is because Jay La Rosa was selling his wheels, and Tom didn't have enough money to buy wheels. So,
and those are Colorado Custom.
Colorado Custom salt flats.
So he probably got the
no, they weren't called salt flats. They were called because remember they're all towns. They're called like Silvertons or
they're all Colorado.
Yeah,
towns.
they're all Colorado town names.
Well, that kind of perfect
about Colorado Customs.
Transition into another inductee.
Exactly.
Yes, please.
So company
Yes.
being inducted is Colorado Customs.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Billet Wheel Company has been around since
the mid 90s.
Mid 90s,
right? Which
and they were one of the Colorado Custom, Boyd's, Budnick,
Bill
Specialties. I mean, those were kind of the iconic.
Those were the
90s
big names.
billet brands,
right?
For mini trucks, for full size trucks, but
and Colorado Custom was a spinoff. I don't want to say spinoff, but
evolved from people that worked from Boyd.
From Boyd, correct, right? Which obviously, our Uncle Bill, as he's always been known.
Bill Hancock.
Bill Hancock. He obviously was kind of the driving force behind that whole thing. But Al, that was the owner, was a machinist, kind of like the rest of your Boyds or your Allen Butnicks. And Colorado Custom put together, they were the wheel of the late 90s, and we saw them everywhere. Yeah. Right?
I don't know, for some strange reason, I always kind of noticed also that they were like that billet wheel that left the truck scene, and was also, you start seeing them in Cadillacs,
right,
and other cars, and they were making those wheels that were look good on white walls,
right,
and the Lincolns.
And I know I'm totally doing them a disservice, but their wheels always were, like Jason said earlier, the wheel was always named after a city in
I didn't
Colorado.
know that. That's actually a cool story.
So like you would have your
there's South Park,
but
I think they had to change that.
I believe so too,
because even though it is a town in Colorado, it's still
because I want to say, God, it's gonna drive me crazy because
of what name those wheels were specifically.
But I just shouldn't let it move on, because
when you edit, just put the little ribbon on the bottom.
We'll put a photo in there of it, but it's
it's killing me right now, because it's right there, and it's gonna be like, yep, that's the name of it. It's like Livingston or one of those. But anyway, they deserve it though. You know, there's been plenty of trucks that have been Hall of Fame inductees that have been on Colorado Customs too. So this makes complete sense for those guys to be.
And they took care of the truck scene.
Yeah.
Like, they worked out. They weren't super expensive.
Right.
They made sure they knew the trucks. They knew the offsets. You've got this, again, you go back, you have an S10, whatever.
Right.
This is what you're going to need, right? This is exactly what you're going to need.
Yep.
They went off and offered other billet items. Like, relax. They actually, Bill reached out to us and said, "Hey guys, I'm making horn buttons,
Right.
and I can make you a relaxed atmosphere
And
horn
the
button."
steering wheel,
Yeah.
too. I mean,
Yeah, the steering wheel,
yeah.
the full-blown steering
that's
wheel,
what Colorado
the horn
Custom
button.
made a lot of the billet steering
To
wheels
this-
for everybody.
for
too.
everybody,
Even
yeah.
private
Yeah.
manufacturing,
So I
private
think they
labeling.
were, while the Boyd steering wheels are still, highly regarded for
Right.
because they were the first, but
Yeah.
it was still like I think like Colorado Custom really took it to that next level.
They
of
did.
Like
Was it
we got a
these?
lot of them.
They were they weren't. The Paradox, that was on his other truck.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you guys are, it's really
I know.
driving
No,
you
it's
nuts.
digging
No,
me
that's
right
what I'm
now.
looking. But yeah, we're talking about when there's Henderson, Fort Lupton.
Yes.
So they're all
Yes,
Colorado.
they're all Colorado.
Denver.
Yeah.
You classic one.
No.
No, they're
See-
they're awesome. It's just I still there's a guy back east in Kentucky from our club.
Uh-huh.
And he recently got some of those. And again, I'm not gonna remember the names either, but they're, he was, the truck just looks so much better.
Yeah.
This deep blue S10,
Right.
solid deep blue S10, and he has his Colorado custom billets on it, and it looks like $1 million.
Right.
And it's like, whoa, check that thing out.
So
Let's-
back in my Line-X day. Oh,
Sorry, we need to keep
Moving.
Like
Okay.
5 or 6 more
okay. Yeah. All right. Sorry.
Hey,
So move on. Yeah. Colorado
Yeah,
Custom.
sorry.
Thanks for your service.
yes. Then, what do you want to pick next?
So, because as I said, we just got.
Yeah.
So then, so talking about truck builds, some of the ones that Tom had, some of the wheels that he even had Colorado Customs on. So the truck Red Hot is being inducted as truck.
Yes,
Or
That's
as
the-
truck.
that's the
It's
hard
a
body, right?
Truck.
It's a hard
So
body out of Florida.
Nissan hard body, yeah.
Okay.
And like I said, the owner has the truck.
Yeah, and that's what he still
that's
has
cool.
it, which
Yeah,
is pretty rare.
I believe it might have changed hands at one point. He might have sold it, and I think he bought it back. But I might be wrong on that.
Okay.
Though. But if that is true, I think that's also super cool because
Yeah.
you hear that story a lot where somebody sells something.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it's hard to probably keep that for 30 plus years or something, but it's
not
cool.
easy.
It's good. Yeah,
it's not
nice
easy
that-
moving it around the garage, especially if it's a project truck like mine.
Yeah.
But, it's it's definitely cool. Like I said, he was when it was featured. It was one of those things where when sometimes it wasn't how much you did to your truck, but how you presented your truck.
Right.
And he always had every little meticulous detail done to it. So that's why I said when I saw it, and I would see pictures of it at shows
Right.
with lifted up and this, the bed up and had the tilt bed, had all this stuff. It had all these little things that in talking with like some of the judges that like, well, we look for all these little
Yeah.
things, and every point's a point,
Right.
and it's like, he definitely had that
that kind
his
of
game set. Yeah.
that,
And
the
so
system down. yeah.
I believe that it's still hoping that he might bring it to Vegas.
That'd be
for
really
this.
cool.
That'd be
I
great.
mean,
And,
Yeah.
hopefully
it would
should,
really,
yeah.
I think, like I said, and I know that in this day and age we've gone leaps and bounds in what we can do with these trucks with technology, but sometimes cleanliness and just perfected simplicity
Right.
can really outdo something.
Well, those are the trucks that stand the test of time.
right?
When you make them loud and wild, it's going to be loud and wild for a minute. I always refer to that as the barbed wire tattoo, where
Right.
in
Oh,
the
yeah.
early 90s,
No,
everyone
I'm-
had to
I'm-
have one.
I'm glad I'm not.
You're not a member of that club. Yeah.
Yeah, I
But-
would say if I was a little bit older and I probably would have
Yeah.
started getting tattooed earlier and probably would have had one of those.
And,
Yeah.
and that's
I'm
kind of the
glad I
thing.
didn't,
I
but
look when I look at some of those trucks that were like built in that era. That's what I think of is the barbed wire tattoo. you
Yeah.
know? And again, it's not a bad thing, but it's just something
No,
that you're
no.
going
You
to
can
share
date
with
it.
And
everybody.
You can
else.
date it to that
Yeah.
Red
time
Hot
period.
is going to
Yeah.
be a truck
Not in a
that's
good way.
Right.
You're gonna know, like somebody like us, we're gonna know this truck came out in the late '80s, early
Exactly.
90s.
Right.
KMC wheels,
Right.
But it still looks good.
certain things,
Yeah.
the certain accessories,
Right.
bought accessories. It's all they were perfect for us,
Yeah.
because we didn't have an unlimited budget, so
Right.
it's definitely well deserved. Like I said,
Yeah.
and again, going back through these list of other people, and we want to kind of keep that one tight-lipped. but
Right.
It's you sit there and go, yeah, that deserves it.
Yeah.
It wasn't, it wasn't like Stranger that's over here.
I would say
Exactly.
But-
And right.
probably when you guys are going through all this, if you have a 3 or 4 that you're deciding between for a certain category, I'm sure there's probably hey, let's maybe make a mark next to that, guy's
Yes.
name for future or for
Yeah,
next year
because,
or
again,
something,
not-
where
you-
it's like
you-
it's deserved, but maybe this time it's
Yeah,
We got
because-
someone else who need
and
to
again, we
put in
have
there.
an odd number of voters.
Which is good. Yeah, you
That's
need
good.
that.
So there's
Yeah,
always
right.
we've come into a situation where we need a tiebreaker.
Yeah.
And that person doesn't respond for it. Like, come on.
Come on. Right.
Was there any tiebreakers this year?
Oh,
that
yeah.
You had to put to that. What was one of the ones?
Clubs are always tiebreakers.
Okay.
Okay.
Clubs are always
Well,
tiebreakers.
especially because every single person that is on the committee
yes,
is in a club.
we're all in
Right.
a club,
Yeah.
but there's also a little plus to it. I think so far everybody that's on the committee has also been involved with hosting a car show, a truck show.
And that's important. I think that's very
And
important.
I think that you get to learn how the people are in clubs based on how they behave with the show promoters.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. How much grief do they
Because
give them, or do
honest
they
to
help them out?
goodness,
Yeah.
I remember when we were doing Relaxing in SoCal, here,
Yeah.
even though it was a small event and it was out, it's just a street in Torrance, in front of Alpine,
Right.
that people still had a preference. They either fell in love with the tree they were parked under the year before.
Right.
But listen, man, come on, we brought you X amount of trucks. I'm in this club.
Yep.
I deserve to be there.
Yeah.
Or I deserve to show up at 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
Because I'm in this club.
Right.
And you sit there and go, no. You don't understand how much work it is for me.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for
How
us,
much that
and
throws
as my
off
club,
everything
and
else
The
to
fact that
set up or
every member
whatever.
of my club's here since the night before.
Yeah,
and
working.
So
Yeah.
when all these people are voting for a club, they take that into consideration.
That's right.
Because
What's been some of the reputation or the interaction?
yeah,
Yeah.
so some of that got thrown in there, and I was like,
Oh. Yeah.
thank God I wasn't, that
Yeah.
person, because who would have thought, but again, our actions sometimes follow us.
Honestly, that's very refreshing to hear that, because I think more people should remember like that there's a consequence for your action.
Yeah.
And we're all doing this. Look, if we're doing this to outdo each other, let's just put them up, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if
I
you
need
want
to
that kind of
swap
winner, let's
opinions
get that kind of winner. But if we're doing something that's based on our hobby, our love, our passion, well, then why should it be a big deal?
No.
Right?
Yeah, right. So
if you've been following us on Auto Revolution and checked out some of our OBS Clash build series or even the documentary we did a few years ago, we do a lot of stuff with Beltec suspension. What's really cool is they partner with us to give you guys free shipping on every order that you use the code AutoRevolution at beltec.com. Once again, you can get free shipping on everything from OBS lowering kits to Jeep and brand new lift kits. Sway bars, shocks, you name it, you can get it at beltec.com. Use the code AutoRevolution at beltec.com to get free shipping. Now back to the show.
We're both in relaxed atmosphere. He's a non-club committal guy.
Lone wolf.
Lone wolf.
He doesn't know he's the honorary member.
I'm the
Yeah,
plus
exactly.
one.
Yes, he's the plus one. He's
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
You're gonna be the
Tom was
was
always
always the plus
our
one,
plus
right.
one at SEMA.
Right.
Right.
So
Now
that's
you're
why
our
I'm the
club
plus one. Yeah.
You're a
Yeah.
club plus one.
Yeah.
You're gonna be the, if we need a tiebreaker, we're gonna call you.
That's what it is. Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So-
yeah.
But but before I was in relaxed atmosphere, I was in local finesse for about 3-4 years.
Yeah.
So they're being inducted this year, and so that club got started, I believe, in '86 or '87.
Finesse
I'm
was
gonna
a
say
big club. No,
yeah.
I was very familiar with the
remember
original guys of Finesse.
The original guys, the
Yes.
original guy, Alan, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
The guy's name was
so.
Alan that
Yeah,
started the
yeah.
club.
And they had nice trucks.
Yeah.
I mean,
They
they were
did.
always
a lot of the was interesting too. Like they had chapters. Like when
That
I
was another
joined,
thing,
we
right.
had it was SoCal chapter,
Right.
Then we had a Vegas chapter in Arizona, et cetera.
Uh-huh.
But I remember looking at, because I was secretary for a long time, looking at the old flyers and the old
Yeah.
sheets and stuff. Is like, all right, they had a Chino chapter,
Yes,
a
they did, yes.
Covina chapter, an Orange County chapter.
Yeah, because
And they were known for that. That's the thing. It's funny. They were known
Okay.
as they had too many chapters.
Mm-hmm.
Is
Yeah.
was kind of the deal, because that's back when like the big clubs at the time were like Cal Cruisers, Bonsai Cruisers, obviously local finesse, and these are all Southern California. This is
Yeah.
prior. This is pre.
When it
Relaxed,
really expanded
exactly
to
right.
Texas and
yeah,
beyond and
Sunset
other-
obviously was another big hitter back then.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously we don't
Especially
yeah,
since
clubs
the
like
70s.
Fleetwood, and,
Fleetwood,
minis,
right?
and the
yeah.
off-road clubs like High Anxiety and all these other guys.
High Country,
Toys
High
R
Anxiety,
Us.
Toys R Us.
Yeah.
But the thing about Finesse, like I mentioned, they had a lot of people around them. So like when Cal Truck Jam would come up, Finesse would come with like 100 trucks.
Yeah.
So it was like
Yeah.
in your face.
Well, and even then, when I was, in sometimes going to Forbidden Fantasy, we would have a caravan going 40, I think one year was 44 trucks
okay.
caravanning there into the show.
Yeah.
And but it was still in the very vein of the traditional truck club. You know, we had mandatory weekly meetings.
Yeah.
A lot of mandatory stuff. You know, a lot of the clubs, Relax, Severed, you know, Camber, some of them have kind of
we're the
ventured away from that, where it is more relaxed.
Yeah.
But as far as I know, they've still kind of kept to that. Maybe not you gotta, you know, if your car's dirty, you get fined or you get paddled and stuff.
That was
Some of
Cal
that still
Cruisers.
happens.
Cal Cruisers
no,
were those guys.
We had that for a little bit. We had that.
And that's, you know, Sean Mahaney, Mike Shartsis, some of the other original founders of Relax were Cal Cruisers. And that's why they're like, no, we're starting a club where
it's no rules,
there's rules, but it's just not.
So
it's more relaxed.
It's not that. That's exactly.
But no, you're right, and because I had some friends in Local Finesse, they were, I don't know if they were the Brea chapter, but they met in Brea at a McDonald's.
Yeah.
And that's where we continued to meet and stuff too.
Imperial Highway. And like you said, they had some awesome trucks because there was other clubs that always wanted to, like, knock the, what was it, the most members awards?
Yes.
Club participation.
Club participation.
There you go.
Was always the numbers, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Which
while
then it
Local
gets
Finesse would they took it with nice trucks.
Right.
Whether it
not
maybe
just
it was,
throwing a logo on a bunch of different
it was
things.
the 80s back then, we
registering,
can buy a mini truck and you put wheels on it, we were good to go. A club would accept you.
Right.
But there wasn't primer trucks. There wasn't
Yeah.
Ford Escorts that were stock,
Right.
a minivan, where other clubs did that.
Exactly.
And be like, oh, we beat you guys. We had 150
Yeah.
vehicles at a
Vehicles.
run, right? And it'd be like,
Yeah.
But were they really? Yeah, but they didn't
Right.
really count
And
as. Yeah.
Your girlfriend driving the Nissan Sentra with
it
the
would have been
mascot on the
better
back. Yeah.
in the parking lot. Than
Yeah.
yeah.
parking
But
here. So
No.
But yeah, no, they definitely deserve it.
They do.
I'm for many years now. I've been a good friendships with Jeremy.
Right.
That is now kind of, I believe he's in that position of the president.
yeah, and he's been in for a long time.
and
He was one of the
he's
reasons
kept the
I
club
started
going.
coming around because he
Yeah.
bagged my truck.
He's a
and
smart guy
back
too.
in the
I
day.
could,
Oh, yeah.
I
Hydraulic
wouldn't be surprised
master.
if someday
Right.
in the near future too he can get inducted himself or like a fabricator.
Exactly. Yeah.
He's very knowledgeable, very gifted. I met him with this Mazda that he had.
Right.
That he had this. He had airbags, but it had a hydraulic cylinder
Yeah.
on top of it, and it rode smooth. It would lay out. And then Sean Mahaney had helped me build my Toyota that I would hop.
Right.
And because we want to go enter at the lowrider shows and take a mini truck on billets and hop it.
Right.
And so, and that's where like Jeremy was intrigued. He wanted to see what Sean had done on my truck. And I had known that he had this. And so we were like both looking at each other's trucks. And since then we've all, kept this good communication going.
Right.
And so I reached out to him. I said, I need, I'm like, hey, guess what? I'm in the mini truck Hall of Fame committee.
Right.
And your club's getting inducted for a Hall of Fame. And he was like, no way.
Really? Good.
'Cause,
Good.
It's with anything, like I said, sometimes, sometimes we lose sight of where we stand in the world, right? Until somebody comes and acknowledges you, and they deserved it.
Yeah.
Like I said, again, now we have to go and kind of like, why do I vote for them?
Exactly.
And I told him, I said, this is why I would vote for Loco Finesse. I know Brian Good knows him very well. Forbidden has a good relationship with Loco Finesse. But maybe not so like a Radar in Texas nor a Jason in Florida.
Because they
have chapters
had
now.
a couple chapters. In mid 2000s.
Right.
Had a Texas chapter
But
and
in
back
the
east and
early
stuff, but not a
heydays of-
huge.
Yeah.
It was very Southern California
I
focus.
think
for a
now
long
that
time.
if you gather, not to say they're not a big club, but if you gathered all the chapters in other states, again, it probably the local. They had chapters like you said. There was. It was the counties. You had Orange County, LA County, Riverside County, San Bernardino. But then within those, there was chapters within the cities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we had it. We had a chapter up in the valley.
Right.
And we had a chapter in the Inland
It's
Empire.
it's easier now
we
to
never
communicate and stuff.
We the only thing we didn't do is that we didn't acknowledge it that
Right.
way.
You-
They
it
just
was-
didn't have to drive to Orange County for a meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But and the what they brought to the table back then is still something that to me I see that deserves it.
Right.
The
No, I do.
acknowledgement.
I do. I mean, again, too, I know we don't have a time machine, but if we
No.
had a time machine, people would see that Finesse brought a lot to this,
Yeah.
So-
And I always remember they had a lot of girls in their club.
They
too.
did. I was just going to bring that up. And they would park.
So I'm not the only cochino.
Yes, no, totally. And the thing I thought was funny, they would park at the Cal
Even in
Jam.
my time too. I know
Was that-
back in
yeah.
the '90s there was a lot of girls in the club.
Right.
Yeah.
And even in my time we had a lot of girls in the club with nice
And-
trucks and,
yeah.
and cool stuff.
And I have to say, because, and I don't remember her name, she was in Calc Cruisers and was not very easy to get along with. And I remember that tainted a lot of the other girls being in clubs and being at the show, kind of like, oh, is she going to be like, what's her name?
Yeah.
So that I think was kind of a negative thing. But Finesse, they allowed that to happen. They didn't make them mascots. They made them club members.
Yeah.
So that was also kind of another thing because at the time, like, if a girl wanted to be in the club, it's like, oh, is that your girlfriend? Okay, she can be the mascot.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we'll still put a logo on her shit, but she's not, really
it
in the
wasn't
club.
considered equal
Right.
or something.
But where
yeah,
Finesse was
it
like,
should
no,
Yeah.
that's her
Yeah,
truck.
I worked in La Habra, an equipment rental yard, and I had there was the owner's daughter. Her best
keep going.
friend
Keep
Okay.
talking.
Yeah.
was she was a member
Okay.
of local Finesse. She had this cool Mazda with the shell, ground effects on it.
Yeah.
And I met her because I started working there with my Nissan, and she comes to me and was like, "Is that your truck outside?"
Yeah.
And my truck being red, but I had already had the hanging out with the LA guys and hydraulics and whatnot, so I was able to figure out how to modify my suspension to lower it a lot more, and
Right.
hers wasn't.
Yeah.
And so back then you had to ask and look at things, and she came and I told her what I did and stuff, and I remember that they invited me, come and hang out we're doing it's not a club meeting, it's just a club gathering.
Yeah.
Because I was already in a club, and I went and hung out with them, and I always forget there was a guy in Finesse, kind of a heavier set guy,
Right.
that had a truck with a hydraulic tilt
Yep,
bed, and there
yep.
wasn't many in the Orange County world that did that, and so him and I got along pretty well and got to know each other, and
Right.
and then that's when I went to this gatherings, when I saw, I was like, they got a lot of cute
A lot of
girls in
girls
the
here.
club.
Yeah, exactly. Like, wow, okay.
Well, I will say that it continued.
Yeah,
into
that's
that
good.
time
That's
period.
not a bad
so-
thing,
No.
though,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
No, it was a good time. We had
Right.
No, it's good.
Had some
and,
good times.
And I know we're pressed for time, but I got to acknowledge that they're also very good now. At least with Jeremy, having that I've been interacting with him for the last couple months.
Right.
I mean, he's got his son in there now, and
Yeah.
his son has a truck. And I saw him the other day. I was like, oh, check out that Slam Mazda over there. And I see the local Finesse.
yeah.
And,
One, too.
and
They had
they're
a cool
keeping that
logo,
going
too.
too.
Yeah.
That big logo.
Yeah.
Yeah, the painted logo.
Yeah.
and
Which.
Because I always I always dug their logo. It fit the trucks. Because the other thing, too, is the logo was the identification of the club, no doubt.
Yeah.
But to have it match the vehicle to me, like the style, that also made a big deal.
Yeah.
Because some of the logos were like, well, that looks cool, but it doesn't look cool on that truck.
Yeah.
Right? But with Finesse's logo, at the time, I'm sure they got the idea of it. Local Motion, the surfwear company from Hawaii, that was the most popular sticker you could put on anything. Volkswagen, mini truck,
Yeah.
4x4, whatever. Everyone rocked the Local Motion sticker. If you look at Finesse, kind of robbed from that kind of style. So that was in style and it fit the trucks. And so to me, I was always like, dude, that's cool looking.
It was a Southern California.
It was a Southern
thing.
California mini truck. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So I like that, and I wish them nothing but luck, that they can continue to keep moving forward. Like I said, I know Jeremy's like one of those guys that is just, he does anything and everything for those guys
Right.
to keep them, and they've busted out some really nice trucks lately. There was a Mazda at Forbidden Fantasy this last year.
Yeah.
That was one solid color, came back the next year with graphics, and I was like,
Yeah.
on big billets, the whole 9 years. So they've been,
Step in the, well, I mean, not really step in the game because
they're
Jeremy,
consistent with.
Yeah.
Again, it's just that they're always still impressive, and
Right.
that's why they deserve to be
they do. They do. Absolutely.
in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, absolutely.
So next, the show, West Coast Nationals, the lovely
Ooh, yeah.
River Run
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Yeah,
at Parker.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
West Coast Cat Nationals were fun, man. I've got a lot of stories about that place.
Yeah, I was just say how many of the stories do we want?
Yeah.
But when was the first West Coast
West Coast Nationals?
originally? Because then it got brought back about
Right.
15, 20 years ago.
Right.
For a few years, but it was all that was it early 90s or mid 90s or even
Early
before that?
90s. Early 90s. Yeah. And that was, like you said, I mentioned it was a river run that I believe it did go back to Lake Paris, though, right?
Believe so.
And But
they went back and forth between La Paz or
right.
one of those rivers that not Havasu, but down the
One of those, right?
stream.
But totally fun show. I mean, I love to think about that show because I remember that we brought a 40-foot trailer full of mini trucks one year, and Bob looked at me like, "What are you, crazy?" And I was like, "Nope." And that ended up being the stage for the bikini contest because the stage was too small, no one could see, and they said, "Put them on the trailer." And I'm like, "As long as we get to be the judges." So that's how the bikini contest was on our trailer. So yeah, I mean, but I don't know if we're really allowed to talk about what happened at West Coast Nationals, right? You know, I mean, it's
don't
kind
know.
of.
There's a lot of stories, so-
yeah, you're bringing together a 3-4 day event of camping by the river on the
Good
river,
weather.
Right.
in
Bikini weather.
Yeah, bikini weather.
and you got jet boats running up and down.
Yeah.
you know, and then got the mini truck. So
It did bring a couple of those different lifestyles
it would,
together.
yeah, it would
did.
bring a lot. Some of the
Because-
boat people would kind of
because
come in and mix. And
you know, Bob, and you know, he knows.
He knows his audience.
Yeah, he knows the audience, and then that's when that craze of having a truck and then having a boat and then towing it out to the river
Right.
started to get
yeah,
real
having
popular,
the matching
Right.
graphics or something.
You know,
yeah.
so well, then why not have a truck show at the river, right? And
It made total sense.
because I mean, my first experience with the truck run was Rezo, and that
Okay.
was like winter,
Yeah, cold.
camping, and-
Right. What am I doing out here? It's freezing.
Yeah, it was like
Keep giving me something to drink.
So,
I'd say, yeah, there was always either you're cold at Rezo or you're burning hot, but at least you had the water at
Yeah.
you know,
Right.
West Coast.
But,
so.
yeah, so that definitely changed things. It changed things where guys would also make it easy for a lot of the other states to make a trip down.
That's what I liked about West Coast Nationals being at La Paz is that you got Arizona people, you got some Texas people. I met Cope at West Coast Nationals.
Yeah.
You know, so we got Texas people. Bill Carlton, I met him at West Coast as well.
Yeah.
So I mean, that to me, it was like, I don't want to say halfway because it's not halfway. The guys
No.
in Texas will always tell us that.
Yeah,
but that's
it's
how we got
it's
Texas people.
2/3 of the way from Texas.
But
yeah.
that's how we got Texas people to California, kind of.
Yeah.
Right? They wouldn't come to RG Canyon or
No.
Truck Jam because it
No.
was just too far.
It was too far
Yeah.
for something that, and there's, you know, I think again it probably just goes back to one of those that's more of a formal car show,
Yeah.
and they were, you know,
This is more basically, yeah, kind
this
of
was more
come
of a
hang
party.
out at,
Yeah,
and party
it
at the
just
river
made it
for
a
a
little
couple
simpler. You didn't
days
have to
and-
bring a show truck. You could
Right.
just show up. You know, Cope brought his dually.
Yep.
You know, brought the van and whatnot, but also had fun driving around there in his dually and
Oh, yeah.
and all that stuff. So you definitely, that's how a lot of people. I want to kind of almost say that a lot of, besides the magazine guys, like you had Courtney and, you know, Tito and Courtney and Mike traveling the country for shows, and
Right.
that's where like NC and Relax was able to expand.
Oh, yeah.
But it was also these runs that now we're in better weather. They can travel across these states that normally they couldn't get to Rezo in the winter.
No way. Right.
No, not in a mini truck.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Yeah, you're dealing with
but
the snow.
now in the summer, well,
Yeah, I'll
no
go do that. I'll
problem.
check it
So,
out. Right.
So that showed, I think, when a lot of people back east, you talk to them about truck runs.
Yeah.
I think they usually, that's the one that comes before Rezo, I think.
Right.
Rezo for us was more of a tradition.
Exactly.
Where-
Right. That was, to me, like, was the benchmark. Then
Yeah.
it's like, okay, what else do you do for your encore type thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they definitely, and you know, that's just one more accolade on Bob's
Yeah. No, I know.
list of many accolades.
Right.
so,
Right. Exactly.
But
I would say, is Bob in the Hall of Fame himself?
I
Bob
believe
Hayes?
so. Yes.
I know Sunset is. I know probably Reza
Yeah.
as a,
The other
but like
show.
as a
And
As a person. Yeah.
I don't
or could
know.
you when he was running
you
him on the
could.
committee? So it's like, now do you?
Oh.
But anyways,
yeah.
so let's talk about the Courtney Howell Achievement Award.
Oh man, this one's dear to me.
Yeah, so dear to us, especially from Courtney, but also this year who's
Yeah.
being inducted in is Joe Bernardo,
Yeah,
Tulo
Jo-
Joe,
Tulo
Yep.
Joe's
Joe
there,
Millionaire,
Joe Millionaire, yeah.
Joe Billionaire.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Who's been kind of a staple in this?
and especially I think
even
for
in
the
your guys'
Central
club.
California
I
area.
think
Right.
he really put. I don't want to give him all the credit because I don't want other people to be like, no, we were doing this before Joe
Yeah,
came
yeah.
built his Toyota.
Right.
But you know, he put the Central Valley.
Yeah.
Because you say that you tell them there's Central California or SenCal, which it is SenCal.
Right.
But then you know you still got the Central Coast and you got the Central Valley. He's the Central Valley. He
Right.
comes from the farming town area up there and stuff. You know, he's of Portuguese descent. And
Yeah.
there's a big Portuguese community there, right?
It certainly is.
He's originally from Cerritos.
Really?
So yeah, he grew up here.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
So his teenage years were in Cerritos, and so whenever he would come, and you know, when he joined Relaxed Atmosphere, him and I developed a good friendship. And if he came to a show out here, he would stay with us or stay near our house.
Right.
And so he goes, "Well, this is my stomping grounds. I was from Cerritos," and I was like, "Really?
Right.
Oh, okay." So, but yeah, he's definitely well deserving.
Right.
Like I said, because he was willing to like help anybody and everybody.
Exactly.
Like, he would come out here, not necessarily always before he joined Relaxed Atmosphere, he was in Dangerous Toys.
Okay. Ooh, that's a name I haven't heard from a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he was
Well,
in
even then,
Dangerous
they're
Toys.
bringing Danger Zone back.
Are they really?
Yeah.
Showed,
Okay.
Yeah, so that
Wow.
Dangerous Toys
Yeah.
did Danger
They
Zone
can-
for
yeah.
a long
Yeah.
time.
So,
and-
you know, but I would see him at events, from the truck jamboree to sometimes even like he would come out here for some of the lowrider shows.
Right.
And other stuff. So, and I just started interacting with him because I also noticed that he would come with, you know, maybe now it'd be like an entourage, but he always came with this group of guys, and they weren't all from Dangerous Toys. He would
Okay.
come guys with other clubs. Maybe they were smaller clubs out of the Central Valley
More. Yeah.
from SoCal, and that were like, I've never been to a show in SoCal. Joe, can I tag along with you? Sure.
yeah,
Right.
so it's kind of a little bit of an
So-
ambassador to
Yeah.
So
to get people to Central Cal, but
Yeah,
also
yeah.
get those guys out.
and
into-
then of course he's also
others.
from that when his truck got to the level of recognition worldwide. He was also in that era when the videos all started to evolve. You know,
Right.
your domination videos,
and the
lowlight
dragging
videos, yeah.
videos.
And there was a
all
big
the-
event up there in SoCal, the KRZ event or
Yeah,
something
Right,
like
right.
that.
River.
That
yeah.
was kind of that was a run, but that one was like at a whole different level. That
Right.
one was,
Yeah.
by then we were all kind of like, it's a little crazy for me.
Yeah.
You know, they brought in all the elements of the motocross people and all that stuff. But I remember when I would see all these videos, Joe's truck.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
when
and
it stood out too, it was, you know, pink
yeah.
and then he put flames on it.
Yeah,
and stuff,
which it's
but-
you know, it's got the Cal Concepts flames on over the pink. So
Right.
that's again bringing Cal Concepts back into the mini truck scene because they had kind of already started to evolve into other stuff. They were still doing mini trucks left
Oh, yeah.
and right.
Right.
But there wasn't one that had stood out like a sore thumb like
No.
Last Look had.
Right.
And I know there are many other trucks, and we can name a dozen of them.
Oh, yeah,
easily,
right.
But Joe's all of a sudden was like, "Did you see that thing after Cal Concepts touched it?"
Right.
You know, and he would come out here,
Right.
and then we developed a friendship because and you know, he left his Dangerous Toys on good terms. He was just kind of like, I want to be part of a club that's nationwide that I can travel with and so
Right.
forth. And, you know, left, like I said, in good terms. He came to us. There was always the other clubs that are trying to pull him in as it is.
Sure.
But we never did that with him. So, but I thought Joe would fit perfect. And then I took him, you know, to the other side to when we took him to the All-Star event. For
Right.
the first time. I had no clue how much of like people had like grown to recognize him and like him, but other than when I would introduce him to somebody in Relaxed Atmosphere and go, "Oh, so this is Joe Bernardo. Hey, how's it going?" Simple hello.
Right.
He's Tulo Joe.
Oh, you're.
dude.
Yeah.
yeah, and they
And their
they
demeanor
click
changed
and
completely
recognize.
Right.
to like they were like, and I was like, "All right, go
Okay.
Joe, go
Got
be
your little
Joe.
deal going? Yeah,
go
right.
be Joe.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, go talk to everybody." And
Yeah.
he did. And people were so, "Dude, I met Tulo Joe."
Right.
And I didn't know that was Tulo Joe because they only knew him by the truck,
Right.
right?
That's normal.
Yeah,
And
that's
then
how it happened. Yeah,
But Joe
a lot of
can
times.
sit there and have conversations with you,
Right.
and take up a car show, like with you the whole time you're there, because he'll start talking about his days in Cerrito, his first truck, this, and you sit there and he's a good storyteller, and he
Right.
loves to talk and he listens to you. You could talk to him and he won't cut the conversation and leave you hanging.
Oh, that's cool.
So,
Yeah.
so for him to get this, be nominated and then end up getting inducted, because his name was being tossed around for a couple of years.
Right. Okay.
Because
And-
I say you could have looked at it as
Yeah.
anything else, but
And,
specifically the Courtney Howell
But
Achievement
finally, you
Award is
had
what-
a almost unanimous decision of it's his turn.
Cool.
And
I want to say, correct me if I'm wrong, I want to say there was a story with his truck and Courtney, because I think Courtney shot it when it was just all one color.
Yes.
And then made a joke about putting it on the cover if he put graphics on it.
Yeah.
And then it went on the cover of Mini Truckin' with the flames.
Yeah.
I believe. Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, definitely. If you follow him on social media, he's really good at. He loves taking pictures when he goes to a cruise night car show, but then the rest of the time he's posting stuff of older times, older events.
Okay.
So you'll see.
He's got an older 80. What year is his Tahoe. Toyota.
Yeah, he bought what he calls the Holy Grail. He's got like an 87, 88 Toyota extra cab long bed with the super shell on. First he had BBS wheels, I think, and then I think he's on Renaults now with red centers.
Red centers,
right?
Yeah.
And he's like, it's not at the level of what my pink truck was. He's got his OBS Suburban.
Right.
He goes, no, this is just this is done a little simpler, a little bit more at a reasonable budget.
Yeah.
Like I would have done it when I was in high school. And he put the logo on the back. He goes, this isn't a relaxed atmosphere truck. This is a hard times truck. And he had a logo done for it of his first club.
Oh, cool.
And so he built it for him.
Right.
And I praise him for that. Because Joe's a good guy.
Yeah.
And enjoys life. He has some little health issues here and there, and sometimes, it takes the best of us. So recently he came to us too and said, I'm gonna retire.
Yeah.
He goes, running a club like Relaxed Atmosphere with my chapter, he goes, it's a lot of work.
Right.
And we and we felt when we found out that this was going to happen, we were like, this is a perfect send-off. We sponsored the ring. Relaxed Atmosphere sponsored. Actually, we sponsored 2 rings this year. We also sponsored Tom's.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And we sponsored Joe's, but because it was just a perfect send-off for him.
Right.
Like I said, he's, that's with anything though. Some people retire and later on they go get a job at Walmart. And
I know, right?
So
right.
He's still going to be here. I think he's going to be here tomorrow.
Okay,
so
good.
He's like, so it's just one of those things where like we good dude.
Well
deserving of the Courtney. And because he did have that good relationship with Courtney.
Right.
Courtney gave him a task or kind of I don't know, like you said, like if you could do this, we'll make this happen.
It was, a little bit of the challenge or making it obvious. So let's see who we got next. So speaking of paint and flames and graphics, so painter this year is Patrick Reed out of Texas, who's long time amazing airbrush artist, graphics guy. I mean, and also too, I've seen his stuff over the years, even some older stuff, and it's like he'll do some of the trends, but it all still works and fits. Like it all kind of works together.
Yeah. This is one where I had to do a little homework. Mm-hmm. Right off the bat, you'll say a name, I would have been okay. Let me look.
Right.
And then so start digging through. I have my collection of old trucking and all this and that, and I'm starting. But Jason, he's like he's really good with history stuff, and he started made a list. Like this is all his more prolific work, and I was like, whoa, okay. So then I started looking for it. I'm like, oh, I know that truck.
Right.
I know that truck. I know this truck, and it's like, okay, yeah. So it's one of those where working as a team and bringing in the knowledge, that's when it kicked in for myself.
Right.
And yeah, definitely somebody that it put Texas on the map for one.
And that's what I say. Yeah, he was kind of like for a long time was the custom, and still is, you could say.
Yeah.
The custom painter for Texas. I mean, you have a handful of guys out there, and I think he worked maybe a lot with Pat Maxwell on he would do the design and then he would do the paint and stuff. But
yeah, because I saw some of the trucks he did were, I think a couple of trendsetter trucks from that club that was Pat Maxwell and all those guys, Steve Green, and that are now relaxed. But there was a lot of trucks in there that were like, wow, that's okay.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing too, is sometimes you associate maybe the truck more with either the builder or the person that owns it. But
sometimes
if the paint job is what the graphics is maybe what's going to be the most memorable or recognizable.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, look.
And then he's had a handful of trucks himself. I think that Dodge Dakota was all body drop laid out, which isn't the most common
I was gonna
for
say,
somebody
yeah.
to do. You know,
Right.
it's not a Toyota or an S10 or something
Yeah.
like that. So
Yeah. No, definitely somebody else that was, well.
And so the last one we're looking at, Todd Wilt is the builder for this year.
Oh yes.
So Todd Wilt.
Yes, that was another one too where I drew a little bit of a blank on that one too right off the bat, and you know.
But that's what's good to have, like you said, on the committee of people.
Yeah.
West Coast, Texas, Florida,
Yeah.
different generations that you can then kind of meet in the middle. And we've been guilty of this too, of talking about
A lot of
pretty
West
people
Coast
saying it's
stuff,
all
yeah.
California,
Right.
and possibly forgetting about the other areas or not recognizing, you know, that. So
Yeah, no, and that's very true. Like I said, you gotta give credit where credit's due. You know, I think when you go back and look at magazine articles and you see some of these builds, and even here in California, we were still, we still look at that and pick up some stuff.
Totally.
That's it's only natural. So definitely once they looked it up and I saw what they wrote up about them, and then why some of the people started voting right off the bat.
Right.
Because again, we can't just say, I pick.
Right. Yeah,
pick
this is
that
my guy.
name.
Right. Yeah.
No,
It's
why?
like, why? Right.
Why are you picking
Yeah.
him?
How is this person deserving?
How did he influence you?
Yeah.
How did he what do you think? How do you think he influenced the scene?
Right.
And definitely those builds that were coming from him were like way over the top in some cases.
Right.
I was gonna say, yeah, some of them are pretty over the top here, just to
They're-
get you a little sample of it. So I mean, you're thinking about the old school, like bright colors,
100% remember those.
Yeah.
zebra
Yeah.
print, the tandem
Yes.
tandem axle,
Yes.
Triple axle.
Right.
triple. He did the triple
I
axle.
believe so. I think, if I remember correctly, yeah. And not so long ago, there was a truck at. Maybe I'm wrong, so I won't say it. But I
Well,
think.
are you saying like a newer build?
No. There was
I mean,
somebody.
there was a triple axle.
There was a truck at SEMA. It's just not a handful of years ago. Dodge D50.
Oh,
I believe.
D50.
Yeah,
Was that Kerry Bewley's?
I think so.
I think that was Kerry
That's
Bewley's
why
that
I
year.
kind of stopped myself.
Yeah,
and went,
Oh,
because
okay,
they
so,
are
yeah.
they are a little similar.
Yeah.
But I know exactly the truck you're talking
Yeah.
about. But they are, yeah. So
And that's fun too. I mean, I remember seeing all that was when like the at least on the paint jobs on those trucks were
Yeah.
just as loud as the
Yeah.
custom work that was done on
Yeah.
it, because you're talking about all the
Yeah,
graphics
so
and the zebra.
He was
and
like a all
that.
like all around builder. Like you could take him
Yeah.
a truck just to get it back done.
right.
He handled the paint for you. He handled the fabrication. Did a bunch of stuff. So
That's
it's like,
cool.
Yeah. So
but yeah, some pretty innovative and wild stuff. I mean, definitely the tandem axles scream mini truck.
Oh, it does.
Stuff.
Yeah, yeah. You
Back
don't
then,
see
even
many
they're doing
other-
it on bigger, lifted stuff now,
Yeah.
or Jeeps or
Yeah.
G wagons.
I always
stuff,
remember that
but-
dually. There was a dually that they did a tandem axle.
Yeah.
And then he entered the autocross at one of the
Yeah.
good guys.
Right.
So that dually was owned by the guy that started Spectre Performance.
Yep.
Oh,
Amir.
And he used that to tow his Ferrari and some other trucks
Wow.
or vehicles to the track and stuff. But
Right.
yeah, Aaron Iha
Yeah.
built that.
Oh, that's right.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
right.
So they ended up like fiberglass stamping those
Yep. The
double
fenders.
and stuff like that to remake
Cool
them.
times.
So,
I know.
But yeah, that's it. Those are your inductees for
that's-
this year. For
yeah.
2025.
Now we're still the same. Where are we? Where's the event going to be held this year?
It'll
be different this year.
Yeah, it's Atomic Golf. It's at the Stratosphere.
Gotcha.
So Hogs and Heifers had to relocate.
Right.
So Candace was very, very helpful in trying to either maybe extend it for us to still have the event there.
Okay.
Along with Shannon from Freaks of Nature. You
Right.
know, he's very involved
yeah,
with it.
the
If
Yeah.
kickoff
anything, they're
party
extending
and-
an open door to us, a hand to us to participate in their event.
Right.
The SEMA pre-party.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, it was
Shannon-
always kind of
Yeah.
tied into the
Yeah,
kickoff.
they were
and-
already doing this SEMA kickoff party for the truck guys.
Okay.
You know, for our scene, and then they invited to have the mini truck Hall of Fame
Well, that's great.
ceremony
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
And so they had to relocate. They're within blocks now. The new location will be there next year.
Okay.
So next year it'll be back at Hogs and Heifers
Oh,
in
okay.
the new
Oh.
location.
Okay.
But this year,
I just
because
find
of-
it's funny that like Hogs and Heifers has been there in the loud biker bar for years and years, and then you do a fancy new hotel across the street,
Right.
and they complain.
And
It's
which I
you
stayed
knew
in
what neighborhood you were getting into.
Well, and the funny thing, which I stayed in that hotel and listened to the freaking cover bands playing on Fremont Street until 4 in.
Yeah, so it wasn't Hogs and Heifers.
It's not
that
Hogs and
was
Heifers.
being loud.
It's them
it was
playing
Fremont.
Motley Crue until 4 a.m.
Yeah.
Well, because they're in the tunnel
Exactly.
almost of all the buildings
Yes.
that go to that stage next to the D.
It was just like Travis was in my room all night, just whoa, just
Hair metal.
yeah. So I mean, that's ridiculous.
So this year it'll be Monday. Well, it's always been the Monday night.
Yeah.
Monday night, 8
pre-SEMA.
p.m. Yeah,
Right.
there's an Instagram page now, Mini Truck Hall of Fame Instagram.
Yeah,
good.
go
Mini
check that
Truck
out.
Hall
Lot
of Fame
profiles,
on the-
kind of little of each person.
Yeah,
that's
yep,
being
yep.
inducted this year, and even
We're
some
going
of
to
the
start
past
showing
winners.
back past winners now
Yeah.
as well, or past
Great.
inductees. When earlier today, when we were trying to figure out, was it 14, 13 that it
Yeah,
started?
how many
I
years?
reached out to
and it was at
Craig
least
Schaffers and Jennifer
13.
Schaffers.
It was at least 13, I know.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
13 for sure
Was it?
because
Okay.
she sent me the flyer
Okay.
because her dad
Yes.
his truck was the first truck to get inducted in the Mini Truck Hall of Fame.
Yeah, with
Yep.
Hawaiian.
It was his Ford Courier, little Hawaiian.
Right.
Which again, now you got guys like I never showed alongside Frank because he's late 70s.
Yeah, right.
He's a RG Canyon guy
Yes.
out here, but. So that's when you got to remember that there's still these guys out there that have these trucks
and shouldn't be forgotten about.
no, they shouldn't
Right.
be forgotten. They're still involved. They're Frank is
Yeah, he puts
he's,
on a car show.
He had a great
He-
career. He's recently retired from LAUSD, but he likes to promote car shows.
Right, why not?
And he's got a show in Placentia, the Heritage Show he does every October.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so when you go back into, well, why would we induct somebody like that? Well, listen, he had his truck. He showed it for many years. He won all these awards. He's put it away.
Right.
Still has it.
But he still has it. He still can fire it up, drive it, register it. It's pre-smog.
Gotta love that.
So, but he's still involved in events.
Yeah.
He puts
Yeah.
on an event
still in
that
the
is
car world
that
and
sometimes
automotive
was
world.
maybe people think of it as a hot rod show.
Right.
But I remember Tom having a booth there. I took
Oh, yeah.
my,
We gave away a motor with Brian Cook.
with Brian Cook, right? So
yeah.
it was Brian Cook, Tom. I
Yeah.
had my Suburban to one side,
Yeah.
my 65.
Right.
Tom was pinstriping girls' legs, and
Yeah.
But so what does that say? That Frank knows his roots.
Oh, totally.
And so if I say I'm going to bring my, S10,
Right.
he'll be like, well, he's going to welcome us. Are we going to win an award there? Chances are we're not, but he's never going to have that sign
That says
like
no
that we
mini
were used
trucks.
to, no mini trucks, no
Right.
VWs, right?
Right. Yeah.
So does he deserve it? Yes. And you know what? There's a lot more of people out there like that.
Right.
And that they now are starting to learn of the Mini Truck Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And I hope that now that we're getting a little bit better with the social media, that we're getting better with promoting the event, like going to some of these people here, and that some of the people now are also willing to come out of the woodwork and say, yes, I was a mini trucker.
Right. Right.
Yeah, they're now
That maybe
wearing
that
as a badge
this
of
can
honor now
continue to
versus
grow.
the
Even here with the Grand National Truck Show, that they have old school mini trucks and new school mini trucks.
Yeah.
That maybe we can blend it. Either if it has to maybe move around, it can be 1 year it can be here, 1 year it can be at LST. We could have the ceremony at LST. And,
Right.
It's just the logistics of voting and how it goes throughout the year.
Yeah.
But it's something that I think that we shouldn't hold it in high regards. It deserves it. It deserves.
Look, I have
if
been
I'm not a member of it next year, the committee, because I'm too busy.
right.
I will still support it, or I even, I kind of push with a few people. Listen, it's the ring cost X amount of dollars,
Yeah.
$400 some dollars. But if you're willing to put $500 in or $550, it's going to help us because we could put a little money in the pot.
Right.
For making
the
flyers,
promotion of it. Yeah.
to make artwork for
Right.
better
to
shirt.
give
Right.
it a bigger
And
presence.
so at first people were like, "Oh, it's a mini truck event,"
Right, right.
Now it's like, "Oh, who's in there now?"
Yeah.
Oh, Colorado Custom is in there.
Right.
Oh, this company's in there.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I mean, there's
These shows are in there.
Right.
Hot Rod Hall of Fame. There's SEMA Hall of Fame. There's
Yeah.
Off Road
Right.
Hall of Fame.
Right.
There's a
They've
Hall
been-
of Fame for
The customs,
Every
in
genre.
the custom
Right.
realm. They've got the the Cruising Nationals. They have a Hall of Fame dinner there.
Absolutely.
that's why I was telling him, if this gets better, whether it turns into a truck Hall of Fame later on as the years go by, it's just you gotta acknowledge where you come from.
Yeah.
Right.
And
know your roots.
Volkswagen scene. I think that's the only one where I love to see a Hall of Fame for the Volkswagen world.
They have kind of their own deal.
Yeah.
But they're the stuck up drag racers. So
It's not the
it's not the street car because
No.
you're right. I mean, and Juan knows this. You grew up in the '80s. You saw street cars. Street cars were Volkswagen Bugs, mini trucks, and Mustang 5.0s and IROCs. I mean, that was kind of like your mix of what happened. So I believe that those guys deserve theirs as well. But again, like I said, Volkswagen guys, Volkswagen guys are kind of like your 40 Ford guys now, where like they know what they have and they're not going to share it.
No.
Right? So
no, because the guys that I can't say the full name, but the Hebs.
yes.
You know the Hebs, those real limited edition coach built VW
Yes.
bugs. That there's the guys that they have to stay pristine, they have to stay all original.
That's right.
And then there comes a guy with one on like Lord Beams with Fuchs on it,
That just blows their mind.
and they're
right?
like, what did you
Why would you do that? Right.
Well, they
Right.
call the
Hitler's rolling over in his grave right now because you're doing that. Right.
That's why they call the guys that in the Porsche world, but similar
The outlaws.
thing, the outlaws,
Right.
Because it's you're customized
you,
it.
you cut that
You
car.
changed
What's
it.
wrong with you?
You
Right.
changed it
Yeah.
from what
Yeah.
Volkswagen did,
Right.
So,
Or Porsche did.
and I know
Yeah.
in the truck scene, there's that too.
Yeah.
There's guys that like them. The resto mod maybe is enough for them.
Right.
It's enough.
Right.
But then, why'd you cut the roof off of it?
Yeah.
why'd you?
Yeah.
Why'd you do
Why is
that?
the body on the ground? It's
Right.
because it's cool.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Well.
But
But
Hey.
I'm a supporter of it. I know you guys have. I reached out to you guys. I said, hey, let's try to.
I just want to see it grow.
I
To
wanna
me,
see it
that's
grow.
my
that's
biggest
what
thing is.
we've had this conversation many times out
Right.
at SEMA and
Yeah.
stuff of wanting to see it
Yeah.
recognized
Yes.
for as it should be.
Yeah, I'm not going to do this for sure, but I would love to see where this can grow into where, like I said, if there's the funds there and they can start to do artwork, that you can travel to other events and be selling shirts. So
That'd be wonderful.
This is the Hall of Fame, the
Right.
truck for this year,
Yeah.
or other trucks and blah blah blah. Because then you're bringing back this history.
Exactly.
And so if you're out there pushing things to buy posters, gear,
It's just
old pictures,
and also
nostalgic
too,
stuff.
it's acknowledging all the people
Yeah.
that have
Done something before.
have
Right. Yeah.
I would love to
made
see,
it to the reason why we have this here today.
It also for guys like us, Juan, we're not just Uncle Rico's talking about the old fun days. Like we
No.
can share it with people that were either with that or share that that interest to say like, yeah, I want to know what it was like. I want to know like, wow, look at that trend. You guys painted that? Because you look at like a paint job right now, from what we're talking about. Like, I mean, Joe's truck. People look at that and go, that's a wrap. Like, no, someone hand did that. Like craftsmen did this.
Yeah.
A computer didn't spit that out. And I'm not look. I also don't want to talk madness about the computer guys now that are just doing a mask and because there's
No.
artistry in that too. But you have to almost look at like how an old craftsman built a house 100 years ago. They didn't have a skill saw. They freaking hand sawed that. So you got to look at like the love that goes into that
Yeah.
stuff. And I think that's what we're not showing enough of that off.
No.
We're not like. We're inducting these people, but sometimes, like you said, who's this guy, right? And you don't know that unless the truck's there or there's some type of video element or there's something that you can, see for your own self.
Yeah.
So I think that, honestly, right now, everything is up for what I look at this.
Yeah.
I think we just got to tell more people about it.
Yeah, because, and that's the thing, I appreciate you guys giving some time to this today. I would love to see some of the magazines that are still out there to still give it some love. I know that there's less of them, but believe it or not, all these guys are still supporting you, our old mini truck guys. So a little write-up on that would be awesome.
Right.
And a little bit more acknowledgement from the resharing, because the way social media works these days is that you reshare it.
Yeah.
You see something cool, share it, pass it along.
Absolutely.
Because maybe somebody, hey, dude, you might be a new scene guy,
right?
But you came across this page and you sit there and go, there's a guy down the street from me that has this old truck.
He might be into
and
this.
he might go over there, knock on his door and go,
Right.
hey, Larry,
Yeah.
and then Larry comes out, did you know, don't you have a mini truck? He goes, oh, yeah, I had this mini truck. I was in this club. And he goes, you know, they have this Hall of Fame. And he'll probably sit there and go, what?
Yeah, what's that?
Because the rest of his life, he's been
inspire them to get involved again.
Yeah, the rest of his life, he was, you know, a husband, a provider, became a grandfather, who knows? And but he doesn't want to let go of that, so he keeps it in the corner of his garage, like Frank did. You know, like other people I know. Like I said, my friend Brian Amato always tells me, he goes, oh, there's several guys that still have these trucks. Right. Kevin Doyle came from that scene. Yeah. And Kevin Doyle knows that.
I think that's a lot of the reasons why this right here makes a lot of sense. And is that we have Kevin, who is a mini trucker. Yeah. Who also, you know, runs the largest, you know, most prestigious car show that we know. Yeah. But he also is making the time to say, hey, I know my roots. I know what this is about. Yeah. Right.
And I do, from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank John Buck. John Buck gave us this opportunity out of his pocket, because this is not making him some money, but he listened to Kevin, he listened to others, he listened to you guys, he listened to me, and said, hey, you know, we need a little outlet for the truck guys. Right. And John just went like,
elevating the truck.
You guys are sharing a lot of passion here. And he said, let's do this. Right. And then I got a kick. I know when people are passing by and you're waving, and I moved.
You're this way.
Yeah, exactly. I saw you're ignoring.
But guy passed by here right now is a member of Relaxed Amateur. His name's Charlie. Right. So he's recently started becoming part of the club. And
I was going to say, technically isn't a member yet.
Yeah, technically he's a member now. He doesn't know this. So
he doesn't know this.
We see this.
Yeah, right.
He doesn't know that we're going to surprise him with his full Relaxed Atmosphere logo. Right. You know, he has this beautiful C10. Yeah. Budnick wheels, lays out, a lot of sheet metal work done to it. Recently, a member from Texas came to visit us. Okay. Sam came to visit from San Antonio. Right. We went to dinner. Charlie shows up. He uncovered his truck and brought it on a weekday to a taco place to meet Sam. And then this is the first time I sit there and I chit-chat with Charlie. I knew his truck was painted by Pete Santini. Yes. So that alone in itself is like, he took it to Pete Santini, you know? Not a lot of C10 guys are taking their trucks to see Santini unless you know how good of a painter he is. But then talking with Charlie, he goes, no, I had a mini truck back in the day. I met Pete then, and, you know, I'm still a loyal
I'm in the scene,
customer
right.
to him.
Yeah.
And so that goes to show you again that if you judge a book by its cover and you look at Charlie in his C10, you would have not thought
he's got to start
that he
in the
had
mini truck world.
Yeah, right.
But when you see painted by Santini, Budnick wheels, lays on the ground. Right.
It's all the same inspirations that have fallen in.
Yeah, no. While the C10 scene right now, it's massive. Right. A lot of the newer people in the C10 world, even though, you know, and as knowledgeable as they are and love trucks, they might not know nothing about the mini truck world. Right. And they might not know how much the mini truck scene influenced the C10 world.
Yeah.
Oh, 100% did.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Yeah. We definitely know that.
That doesn't, it's ham sandwich, man. You need the ham to make a sandwich.
Yep.
Right? Yep. No, I agree. And Charlie's truck ran, the upholstery was done over at Allen's 714 Motorsports. So when I was there, and that's Allen's like, he wants something that's current, but also feels like a little bit more mini truck. And that's why I was like, well, dude, plaid, right? We're like, start there. Yeah. You know, because that was, you know, to us, that's Volkswagen cloth in the mini truck world. Yeah. But it's still with the right coloring, it just makes that truck work. It just pulls the blue out of it so much. Yeah. So, no, it's really cool.
So
it's a great looking truck.
That's why when you walk by here right now, I'm like, oh, that's Charlie. Again, you judge a book by its cover, what, you know, and sometimes we're all guilty of it. But then I sit there and go like, and then when I said, hey, you know, he came to one of the events at Rifle Supply. Right. And everybody's like, oh, that's guy's out of Huntington Beach. He's got this truck. He's been asking about the club. I'm like, oh, okay.
All right.
You know, okay. Yeah. And well, that's because he knew of the club.
Yeah, exactly.
And he knew, and he was like, oh, this is what I, you know, always wanted. Yeah. You know, or Don with the Hot Wheels S10.
Totally.
You know, he tells me stuff like, he's a good, like, sure that truck's ready for the club. I remember how it was when I was in high school and you guys were at the peak, and I'm like,
whoa,
sorry, Don.
Kind of puts it in check.
Right. But that
keeps
keeps the
quality
quality
there.
up. But that's, you know, and people. But and the quality is usually when you see the certain builds and you sit there going like, wow, this is like a high end build. This is something that'll be at the Roadster show or something.
Yeah.
Like that. Oh, but he was a mini truck. Oh shit. Okay,
Right.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So.
Well, good. All right.
So yeah, I think we're going to be maybe showing some of these videos and some of the stuff we've talked about at the Mini Truck Hall of Fame and post it out there to
Yeah.
get people
Yeah,
to kind of
for sure.
recognize and learn about some of the people that are
I
being
know that-
inducted.
Yeah.
But definitely come check that out.
Yeah, please
there'll
do.
be the
Please come out.
Atomic Golf in the Stratosphere, November
3rd, I believe.
3rd, so
Third.
whatever the
First
Monday of
Monday
SEMA.
right before
Yeah.
SEMA.
It is
Yeah.
the 3rd. Yes.
Yeah, so it
yeah.
is the 3rd.
It's Monday the 3rd, SEMA. If you're at SEMA, make your way over
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, it's gonna be a
And
nice
like I said,
kickoff
follow the
party
page.
as well.
It might, because of the logistics of moving and doing things, it might not be yet where we want it, but come for sure next year when we go back to Hogs and Heifers. Like you said, we'll have a screen, start showing videos. Sometimes it's a party. There's a lot of people having good times
No, it's
because
good.
It's SEMA.
people
Yeah.
gather. It's
Right.
SEMA. It's people coming from all over the nation, the world. There's guys that come from all over, right?
Yeah.
And they're sitting there and they want to be amongst those guys.
Yeah.
You know, our friends from Japan always come over
Yeah.
and they're like, you know, there's a guy here right now, Shigeki
Yeah.
he came again. Going back to Frank, you know, because he has a collection of old couriers back in Japan. He
Right.
has 3 or 4 of them.
Mm.
And like little Hawaiian, you know, he got all excited.
Big deal to them.
Yeah,
huh?
it was a big deal.
So he
That's
knows
why
it,
he
yeah.
came.
Yeah.
And so you sit there and go like, oh, there's the mini truck. Oh yes, we know.
Yeah,
the mini
we
truck
know
Hall
about
of Fame.
that. Right.
We want to be there. You know, so
Nice.
That's fun.
yeah, Shingo over there does Custom Trucks magazine. He always runs a little story on the Hall of Fame, and so
Well, we should invite some Germans.
Well,
Because we're the German
there's gotta be a
tourists.
couple
Yeah.
yeah. Then you know it's legit.
okay.
So
Let's do
thank
that.
you, Juan. Appreciate you coming
appreciate
on
you
here.
guys.
Yeah.
Talking about all of the inductees for this year.
Yeah.
We made the joke that we were going to go long,
And we went long.
and we went very long.
Yeah.
There
So-
wasn't that gal here from last time that was like,
Yeah, right. That's
Jane?
right. Jane. Yeah, she kept us in straight. Yeah, she did.
I've seen her
yeah.
at other events.
Yeah.
She points at
She's
me.
like, yeah.
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 You're the
Like-
guy.
You're the guy.
Yeah. Well, especially too, because last year we were doing like, and now I'm going even longer. We were doing like, let's do a bunch of 20-minute,
Yeah.
little short ones and put them together. And so all the other ones were 20 minutes, and we were an hour and a half. And I
Right.
think we're
So
probably
you
at
threw
2
her
hours.
Off, you threw her off.
Yeah.
for-
I think we're
Gee.
almost at 2 hours right
Okay,
now.
yeah, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Are we really?
Yeah.
yeah. It's almost it's 2:45.
Yeah.
So,
All right.
well, thank you
All right.
guys. Yeah,
Well,
thanks to the
guys,
Grand
you
National.
guys are lucky that I stayed
Truck
fully.
Show.
I had a breakfast burrito right before I walked over
I'm
here.
about
That's
ready.
why you guys kept
We
saying,
need,
"How about this
we
time?"
need
I
a
go,
breakfast burrito.
Yeah.
Let me go walk around.
Yeah. We're
Because
gonna
I-
do the same.
I don't want to look like I need to take a nap.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yep.
All right,
yeah,
guys.
thanks to the Grand National Truck Show
Yes.
for having us, TMI, for these. These have been comfortable seats
know,
for this
right? This
long
is
that
a
we've
good
been sitting
deal.
in here. It's been
Right.
pretty good.
Yeah, I feel pretty good.
So,
Okay.
No, I feel
Yeah,
I
and
love
thank
the
you,
studio.
Juan.
I love the Hot Rods by Boyd wheels.
Exactly.
There on
Yeah.
the
Thank
table.
you. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And,
So,
Well, good deal.
but yeah, check out RA SoCal, RA Juan Treviño on
Yeah.
Instagram, Mini Truck Hall of Fame on
Yes.
Instagram, and
and Auto Revolution.
we'll
on Instagram.
and Auto Revolution on Instagram. Although
They'll be
hopefully you
sharing
already.
all the Mini Truck Hall of Fame stuff.
That's
Yep.
it.
And thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.